how people treat each other. I think something that I've always looked up to is my dad is definitely a big role model for me in my life. And he's always treated people how he wants to be treated. And that's really what it means to be a man.
Let's impact some today. I think we're gonna do a great job.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Modern Man Podcast, where we are on a mission to connect men in pursuit of their potential. Tap in as we embrace discomfort, cultivate community, and put wind in each other's sails. And before we hop into today's episode, I want to first make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe to the podcast. And also make sure you check out The Noble Knights, where you can take the conversation deeper and connect with a community of like-minded men. Check out the link in the show notes for more details. But finally, it's my pleasure to introduce founder and CEO of Spirited Hive, Jack Espy, on the podcast. Jack, great to have you on, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Definitely excited to be here today.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. And before we hop into our conversation, it's fun. We were chatting before the interview started, and we roll in some of the same circles. We know some of the same guys, so I already know this is going to be a great conversation. But I want to make sure that the audience who might not have been able to get introduced to you yet have an opportunity to know the man behind the brand, Spirited Hive. So, really quick, give us a quick intro to who you are, what you do, and how we got here, and we can kind of jump deeper into the conversation, man.
Totally, totally. Yeah. My name's Jack, founder of Spirited Hive. I started this brand back in 2020. My whole background, it's funny, I was actually in college right before I started this company. I was at USC. My whole background was real estate finance and real estate development. And I was about to accept a job in real estate finance in LA. And then this little thing called the pandemic happened, COVID hit, and the job that I was supposed to get fell through. And I always tell people, like everyone else at this point in time, I was at home mixing up one too many quarantine cocktails. And one night I was behind the bar mixing up my two favorite drinks, which are Moscow mules and Mexican mules. I was making these all for
Mm.
my buddies, or my hive, if you will. And my buddies were like, damn, Jack, like these might be the best drinks I have ever had. Like, what are these things? What are you making? And I was like, oh, well, they're Moscow mules and Mexican mules. And they're like, well, you got to can these things. Like, this is the best thing I've ever had. So I was like, guys, you know what? I'll take a stab at it. I've never had a brand before, but how cool would it be to have my own canned cocktail brand? So we're all behind the bar thinking about different names for this new drink that I was going to create. And I had an aha moment. I was like, wait, guys, what about the name Mint Bee? And they all look at each other with this puzzling face and they're like, Jack, that might be the stupidest name I have ever heard of, but why Mint Bee? It doesn't make any sense. They're like, where'd you get that from? And I was like, well, because there's mint and a Moscow mule, a Mexican mule, and bee because it's sweetened with honey. And they're like, dude, what are you talking about? There's no honey in a Moscow mule or a Mexican mule. What are you talking about? So little did I know that I was making these drinks wrong all along. And I'm just a honey addict. I put honey on my yogurt, in my coffee, in my steak. I put it on literally everything. But secondly, a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, well, what if I took a different approach at the whole canned cocktail industry, and I focused on making a better for you canned cocktail that was only using honey as a natural sweetener, no synthetic sugars or anything like that in the drink, and only used organic and natural ingredients in the beverage. And that was kind of the beginning of this whole idea and this whole brand that is now Spirited Hive. It all happened on a happy accident, that I like to say, is that
Yeah,
I thought that there was honey in Moscow mules and Mexican mules.
that's fantastic, and it's funny. It's so funny how sometimes our slip ups become our step ups, right? And that's what gets us to the next
Totally.
level. And what I love about this, because the next question I'm going to ask is, I've made some canned not canned cocktails. I've made some cocktails for some friends. As a matter of fact, just about a week and a half ago, made a cocktail for my mother-in-law. My wife just got back from a baby shower. A couple friends were there. I made them all cocktails, threw something together, and they were like, "Oh, this is great, cool." Now, if I think about making this for mass production, canning it, that's a whole
Mhm,
new ball
mhm.
game. It's a whole new challenge than just kind of a few friends that we're making the cocktail for. So, what was that process like? Looking at, okay, here's a few buddies that like my drinks, to how do I replicate this in a consistent way on a massive scale?
Yeah, it was, and mind you, like, my whole background wasn't even a business degree, it was a real estate degree, and I was, like, literally, it's so funny to think back on those early days of, I was very naive, and sometimes it's good to be naive because if I knew of all the hurdles and the hoops that I had to jump through to get this thing actually to be on a shelf, let alone in multiple states, there's no way I would have done it. So, sometimes there's a beauty in being naive to some things. But, that being said, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like researching different cans and bottling lines that I was going to actually produce it myself. And then I found out about, formulators. And a formulator is
Hmm,
someone that if you, like Ted, let's say you had an idea for a cocktail, you would reach out to these formulators. They would figure out, okay, like these are the ingredients that you're using. How can we kind of create this and go from creating it for a handful of people to a mass scale? Here are the ingredients that you'll need. Here are the people that you'll have to, reach out to for procurement. And then here are some co-packers that will actually produce it for you. And that took
hmm,
forever to kind of get that all aligned and actually figure out the right formulation for the brand because I remember I got put in touch with this first formulator, told him the idea, had this whole idea of making it extremely luxury. And we're still a pretty high end canned cocktail, but I wanted it to be extremely luxury and a big, very, very nice brand and something that you would always pour over ice, whatever. And I remember I got the first round of formulation in, cracked it open, and it was the worst tasting drink I have ever had in my whole entire life. And I was like about to throw in the towel. I was like, there's no way this is going to be successful. And, I just stuck at it and went from, first formulation round to second, to third, to fourth, to fifth, to sixth, to seventh. Like literally, we probably had multiple reiterations of this drink that actually is the drink that you're drinking today.
hmm.
So we were really, stringent on the formulation process in itself and then also through the co-packing process as well. But that being said, it was a brutal process to just figure out, not having any idea what I was doing. It was just kind of getting thrown in the fire just to, hey, figure it out. You have to.
Yeah, no, I love that. And hey, sometimes building the parachute on the way down is the best kind of pressure you need in order to get the parachute
Totally.
built. But your friends mentioning you should can this. Canned cocktails are still a relatively new concept to some folks. What was, I guess, your exposure to canned cocktails at the time? Did you know that there was room for growth in this? You mentioned kind of focusing through real estate, but not necessarily having that business degree. I'm curious, until was this something
Mhm.
that you're like, hey, this is something I can do, or were you able to identify like there's a hole or a gap in the market I could fill with this particular thing if done correctly?
So, initially, no. So, when I first started the brand, I literally was doing it for fun. It was more or less a passion project. Like, I literally thought that COVID was gonna last, like maybe 1 or 2 months, and then I would get back into real estate, and that was gonna be the thing. I had saved some money in college, and I was just gonna use that to create this brand, like, just have a cool brand that I started. And then, it started to lead into the next thing, and I was like, wait, there's actually, a market for this better for you product. There's a white space here. That
Mm,
hey, let me actually like try to focus on that and see what I can kind of create to fill that white space. And the leading thing behind that was, the honey. We have multiple alcohol SKUs. We have a tequila ginger, we have a bourbon rosemary and lemon, we have a gin lemon and juniper berry, we have a
mm,
vodka cranberry, and then we have a new tequila pineapple and lime. Yeah, they're all delicious, chef's kiss
mm,
all around. But the thing that is the common denominator across all of them is that it's only sweetened with honey, and we infuse those ingredients that I listed into the honey to make like a honey syrup, and that's what's sweetening all these drinks. So that was kind of the common denominator. And I was looking at the space and I was like, wow, there's really no one out there that's doing this. Like, let's double down and really try to own this white space of almost like the health and wellness industry of this better for you side of things. Um, and now it's safe to say that we're really starting to own that market. And it's taken a lot of time, money, and effort to really get into that because the canned cocktail industry as a whole is so beyond saturated. There's a new canned cocktail brand coming out every single day. And then there's also really big players in the industry like the Diageos, the Brown Formans, the Constellations, the AB InBevs of the world that are dumping millions and millions of dollars into this from a marketing standpoint. And here I am, Jack Espy, who has no idea what he's doing, who's focused on real estate, trying to get into this industry. It makes it very, very hard to tap into. So once I kind of realized like, okay, like we're not just a margarita or we're not just like a vodka soda. And if that was the case, I would not be here sitting here today talking to you about this brand because the brand would not exist. We were very, very
Mhm.
lucky in that it was a very niche brand focused on honey and focused on better for you. Because if it wasn't for that, if you're not niche, we would not be here today. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that you said the better for you in the niche brand because it's all about differentiating yourself apart from the crowd.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is I think a lot of people have a hard time identifying, okay, well, what makes my brand unique or what makes my brand stand out? And a lot of times it's you, right? Like, what is unique about
Mhm.
you that can stand out? And what I find interesting about my introduction to Spirited Hive was we mentioned the circles that we roll in and we have some mutual acquaintances that we know. Um, it was in the health and wellness space that I got introduced to an alcoholic beverage. And for a lot of
Yeah.
folks, that's not their traditional way of getting introduced. Like usually you're introduced to an alcoholic beverage on a Sunday afternoon with a Coors Light commercial, right? Not watching a
Yep.
friend who is flying to Austin for a workout competition, a CrossFit competition. He's like, "Yo, Spirited Hive." I'm like, "Dude, that looks awesome." Right? So there's this oxymoronic, but I say oxymoronic because
Mhm.
it still works, but it's almost an oxymoronic approach of health and wellness and alcohol aspect to it.
If iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. But if you're a man and you're alone or listening to this, then who sharpens you? What's going on, guys? Ted Phaeton here, host of the Modern Man podcast, also founder of the Noble Knights Mastermind Group. And I'm just out here encouraging you to find your circle. Maybe you're on a personal growth journey and nobody around you understands the new mentality that you're possessing. That's okay. You can find an online community that will pour into you, will navigate your goals and navigate your obstacles, share their experiences, resources, and more. Join the Noble Knights Mastermind Group and try us out for free to tap into a community of men helping each other scale up and reach their goals.
Check out themodernmanpodcast.com. Talk more about how you massaged
Yep.
that niche, that brand, and the cooperation between those two that for some might think that they don't cross at all.
Totally. Yeah, and it's honestly, it's the biggest thing, and it's very hard to get it across because there's education around it, and
Mhm.
health and wellness and drinking go two totally different directions. So, and in my opinion, there's a crossover between the two. They may go like this, but in my opinion, there's some crossover because
Mhm.
I'm a perfect example of that. Like I care about health and fitness. I care about what I put in my body. I work out every day, I count my calories. I do all of that. And it's something that is one of my three pillars in my life. And it means so much to me. But also, I like to have fun and I'm not sober and nor will I ever be sober. Um, but for me, I wanted to bring something to other people that are like me, like my friends who care about health and fitness as well, that brings a better option when it comes to drinking to the table. And that's why we've kind of doubled down on really marketing towards the people in the health and wellness industry. Because, yeah, we might get 50% of the people that are like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you doing that? But we have other 50% that are like, whoa, finally, there's an option out here for me that I can actually drink and grab rather than having any other canned cocktail that's synthetically sweetened, that are only chasing low calories, but you don't know what's in the drink at all. Whereas
Mhm.
very trans we tell our consumers really what's in the product. So there is that ability, and it may be small, But I would rather own that category and be the drink that those people go to. It's always funny, like, I always think about those old Dos Equis commercials where it's like, "I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis." It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like our consumer is like, "I don't always drink, but when I do drink, I drink Spirited Hive." And that's kind of what we wanna
Yeah.
hit home, and this whole idea of embracing balance in your everyday life is the way that I live my life, and that's the way I want my consumers to live their life. Everything in moderation is fine, and I think if you have a good relationship with alcohol and you do care about health and fitness, like, we are that product that I want, my consumer to drink.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you mentioned before, like the high premium product pouring over ice. Just the other day, I was relaxing at home after a long week, and I had my bar cart, and my wife was like, "Oh, you're gonna make a cocktail?" And I was, "Oh,
Mhm.
no, not right now. I'm okay." I chose not to that night. But sometimes I like to unwind with a cocktail, a cigar, and it just makes me feel good after a week of getting after it, right? But now I hear that
Mhm.
you have the was it tequila pineapple?
Oh, yeah. Tequila, pineapple, and
Oh,
lime. That one is,
come on.
it's good. It's good. We released it, a couple of months ago, kind of like a soft launch, and then we're gonna kind of really build it up to do a big launch this spring into summer.
Yeah. So again, I think of that on a nice sunny day in an afternoon on a Saturday when I'm by the pool relaxing. I don't need to get wild. I don't need to do anything crazy, but just wanting to sip on something refreshing and delicious, like I just think about tequila, pineapple, and lime. That's gonna be delicious. But those are
Mm.
you're speaking my language, but I also am sitting here with the protein shake and meal prepped meat in the fridge, things like that. So
Yep,
there is a
yep.
crossover to your point, and you're speaking specifically to them. And so many people get afraid to niche down because they're afraid of what if there's
Mhm.
not enough people out there. What was the reception like when you first went from making the drinks for a couple buddies? You went through the reiterations with the formulators, and then you found a formulation. You were like, okay, this is good, and you start rolling it out. What was, I guess, the first reception like when you started rolling this out beyond the group of those immediately around you?
Yeah, I mean, it was unreal. It was absolutely amazing. We launched it in Nashville, and we actually launched it in tandem. We were the exclusive, and we are the exclusive ready to drink of the Nashville Soccer Club. And we launched it the day no one had ever seen this product. And the Nashville Soccer Club just launched a new stadium in May of last year, and that's when we launched, or actually May of 2 years ago, 2022 is when we launched. So no one had ever seen this product. It's the first day of opening day, and we had three branded bars, launched the product. Everyone was walking around the stadium drinking it, and it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. Because, like, to your point, before this, the only people that were drinking it were my buddies. Like, oh yeah, it's really
Mhm.
good, like blowing smoke up my ass, and I'm like, oh yeah, awesome. And then I got to see it actually in person with people who didn't know who I was. Like, oh yeah, this drink. So I would ask people, like, what do you think of the drink? They're like, this is so good. It's different. I've never seen anything like it out there that's sweetened with honey. Um, so it's really cool. And like the whole idea behind, the sense of hive and hive community is what really means so much to me. Is like I'm a very charismatic person, and I'm a very peaceful person. Like, I love talking to people. I love, I can befriend a rock at the end of the day. Like, that's how much I like to talk and everything. So hive community means so much to me, and my hive community means so much to me as well. And what's so cool about this brand is that we have different alcohol bases, and anyone in, any hive friend group or any friend group, they don't all like tequila, they don't all like vodka, they don't all like gin. So we have an alcohol base for everyone in your hive. And that's what's so cool, is that it doesn't matter if they like tequila, we have, or a vodka or gin. If they like the idea of a better for you can cocktail sweetened with honey, like, we have one for anyone in your friend group. And
Mhm.
what's cool is we're also diving into the non-alc side of things as well, which will be launching this summer. So I'm definitely excited about that too.
Am I allowed to say the name? I saw that in some of the the homework I did.
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah, you can say the name. You can say the name.
You can say it if you want.
Yeah,
I'll let you do
I can do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Yeah, so we're launching Strive this summer, which is going to be the sister brand to Spirited Hive, and kind of, tapping back into what, Ted was talking about along the lines of, health and wellness, and, kind of owning that market. And what we're trying to do here at Hive Brands is try to make the drinking occasion as better for you as possible. And like I was saying, drinking is never going to go away. It might, decrease, but it's never going to go away. People will always be drinking. So how can we make drinking as better for you as possible? So we have Spirited Hive,
Mhm.
which is the better for you can cocktail, like I was talking about, all 100% sweet with honey. But we will have Strive, which is not so much non-alc focus, it's hydration and recovery focus. So the whole idea is, if Ted and I were cracking open a couple of hives, throwing a couple back, the whole idea is, to cue in a Strive every once in a while, one of the hydration SKUs, to hydrate our system, to replenish the things that we lost that got dehydrated while we were drinking. And then later on, we have a recovery SKU, which is promoting L-theanine, magnesium, all those good things that get back into your body to rehydrate you as well. So that way, the next morning, you're not waking up feeling crappy. You're ready to own your day. And we also will have a low milligram caffeinated version to kind of crack open, kick off your day. So that way, you're out the door feeling good and can go hit a workout. So the whole idea is embracing balance. I always bring it back to embracing balance in your everyday life and owning that drinking occasion to make it as better for you as possible.
That's awesome. You literally built the implementation of what I used to do with my wife when we first started dating. We'd go to the bars. We went out with friends for a night. I literally would go up to her after every couple of drinks with a cup of water. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Hydrate,
Yeah.
hydrate." But and that's exactly what it is. It's being conscious, and like you mentioned, we are going to be out with friends. We'll have a couple drinks or a few drinks, but I'm also still conscious of what are my hydration levels? Let me go to the bar. I don't need another round. I
Mhm.
want to water this time. This time it's like, hey, I don't need another hive. Just let me get that strive so I can keep going. No, I think that's fantastic. I was gonna ask, how did you land such a lucrative brand deal out the gate? Because I'm sure there could be we have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen and they could be working on their product, their brand, and they're trying to find sponsorships or some partnerships, but they feel as though they don't have any validity because they haven't sold a whole bunch yet. I'm interested to know how that conversation goes and how you get that brand deal out the gate.
Yeah, totally. And that was something that was it was definitely tough, because starting a brand and being an entrepreneur, like every dollar you need to protect that as much as you can. You can't just spend it willy nilly. So I was like, well, what can I do to really punch above my weight class, if you will, and really get this brand
Yeah.
out there? And one of my buddies worked in partnerships over at NSC, and he was with me kind of throughout the process and seeing how this brand was growing. And he was actually the one that approached me. He was like, I think this brand would do amazing in Nashville, or with Nashville SC. He was like, I think it's a perfect partnership. Like, let's talk about doing some LED advertisement. And I was like, dude, like I'm a startup. I don't have any money. Like, I don't think I can do that. And but then I started thinking, I was like, well, this whole idea of punching above my weight class, I was like, let's get this brand out there. And what better way can we do it than a partnership, with MLS, and really get it out there? So I was like, okay, we're not going to do LEDs, but what if we were to do a branded bar? And then that brand of bar conversation led into being the exclusive ready to drink partner of the Nashville Soccer Club. So going from LEDs, which is all the way down here, to the highest part that we could be a part of the brand and a part of the team, which was absolutely insane. And it was a massive gamble, just kind of like how it was leaning into this better for you category. If that had fallen through, we sunk so much money into that deal that if that didn't work,
Mhm.
the brand would have folded. So it's kind of, it was a big gamble, but it was a gamble that worked out. And in turn got us, the partnership with the Tennessee Titans. And then that partnership got us in with the Nashville Predators and the Nashville Sound. So we're with every major league, sports team in Nashville. So we own it from that standpoint. We're really trying to become the go-to canned cocktail of Nashville, which has been very, very cool. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely something. When I say it out loud, it's like, holy crap, that's actually unreal that we did that.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's fantastic. Like Nashville is your first hive, if you would, when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And I imagine the exposure is continuing to grow there. Um, I wanted to transition into as that's growing, as the brand is growing and people are enjoying Hive, what's going on with Jack? I'm interested to know your personal journey through this process because I know you launched in 2022. We're recording this early 2024. That's a lot in 2 years, man. Like 3 years ago, you were going to be in real estate. A pandemic hit, and here we are. So I'm interested to know the projection and the growth Jack Espy has had in that same span.
Yeah, no, it's been very, very cool to see my personal growth over the years. Like I've definitely changed as a person for the better, 100%. I mean, I went from, graduating college, thinking I was going to be a real estate finance guy to now being a founder and CEO of a brand and managing 10 plus people that are pretty much all older than me, which is very crazy to think, but it's been uh, it's been 3 years that have been filled with a lot of ups and downs, that's for sure. But pretty much I talked about my 3 pillars, and my 3 pillars are, family, friends, and fitness. And if it wasn't for those 3 pillars, I don't really know where I would be today. So, something that I've kind of grown over the years is, putting those kind of 3 things at the top of everything. So no matter what's going on with work, always making time for my friends and family, and then no matter what, always staying on top of fitness. Before, we kicked this whole thing off, we were talking about fitness, and I can tell that you're passionate about it and I'm passionate about it too. And that's what really gets me going is being able to stay on top of my fitness goals. But also that in turn makes me a better CEO and a better founder, because hold myself accountable to those things. So it's been really cool to see myself grow over the years to really hold myself accountable, not only from a fitness perspective, but from just a lifestyle perspective, and being a founder. I mean, it's really tough to be able to um, operate all these meetings every single day.
Mhm.
And the day, like the ins and outs of every single day is definitely tough, but it's cool to see myself continuing to grow and growing the team and still being able to do it with not ever working for someone else before. It's been very, very cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. One of my last questions is about the importance of community and the social impact, that approach. And you mentioned it before
Yeah.
about how important, and obviously with friends, family being two of your pillars, fitness being the third, and the guys, the names. Eric Hinman was a previous guest on the podcast. Be sure to check out his episode. Josh Whalen was another previous guest on the podcast with Blokes. Be sure to check out his episode. But these guys who've connected with you as well, the fitness community is huge, family and friends. How big has community been, not just for you in your life, but with Hive and where you see it going and the trajectory that you're aiming for?
Yeah, and I think, the whole idea and sense of Hive community is it goes so much more than just a brand, it's a lifestyle, in my opinion. And this day and age, there's not that sense of community out there. Like you watch the news and you're like, what's really going on? And my whole thing is, bringing that back, bringing that community back where people can just be each other and be themselves and, be with each other and have fun. And I think connecting that in with fitness is the most amazing thing ever. Like when I got connected with Josh and Eric, you know, those people inspire me to do better every single day in my every single day life. And if we can create this Hive community where people promote that lifestyle and promote that idea of building everyone up, not breaking each other down in the sense of community, that's what I'm really trying to get at. And that's what we try to do with all these events and activations that we put on across all the states that we're opening. We almost try to do these health and wellness events that, yeah, Hive is there and you can enjoy Hive at the end of the day, but it's bringing people together, bringing that sense of community together. And yeah, we like to do a little bit of type 2 fun where people are like, wow, this is brutal, but you're doing it together and you guys are both kind of getting through everything together. So that hive community is something that is something that means so much to me, and I know that it's something that will mean a lot to other people down the road too.
Yeah, I see it as bonding on both ends, man. I'll tell you what, some of the biggest bonds I've built were, sharing a drink with somebody and just spending some time together, talking, and then going through a workout together. Those are two bonding
Mhm.
experiences, and there's often events where they start off with the workout and then finish with a drink afterwards. So, I truly believe that you are building that community and offering multiple ways for people to bond over a better for you option and a better for you canned cocktail. So that is fantastic. And I love everything you're doing. I want to make sure our audience, everybody watching on YouTube, everybody listening, can taste Spirited Hive, can get in contact with you, follow the work that you're doing. So, Jack, what are the best avenues, links, ways for folks to follow up, connect, and check out more of what you guys got going on?
Totally, yeah. If you guys want to contact me, just reach out to me on Instagram. It's just at Jack Espy, and then definitely give Spirited Hive a follow at Spirited Hive. And if you want to buy it, definitely should. It tastes amazing, and it's that better for you option that you guys have been looking for. You can find it at spiritedhive.com, and we ship to almost every single state in the country. So yeah.
I love it. And I should have asked this before. Are you guys going to be expanding into supermarkets, things like that across the country? Is that the plan? Hope, goal?
Yes, so I'm actually hiring on a new head of sales as we speak. We're actually currently in all the state of Tennessee, Florida, Michigan, New York, and then we're opening up Connecticut and Georgia this year, along with a couple of other states. And then with Strive, that's going to be coming out this summer. We're going to be opening that into D2C, and then those states that I listed as well. So if you're living in any of those states, you can buy it at retail and liquor stores, gas stations, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And just another logistical question because I have some friends in beverage distribution. Shipping liquid is heavy, man. How is that challenge?
Mhm. Oh, don't even get me started on the D2C side of things. I literally was just on with Cameron and a couple of other people talking about e-commerce, and it's so tough because, not that many people are buying beverage alcohol online, and it doesn't make sense like you should. It makes it so much easier rather than going out to buy
Mhm.
it, but it's heavy, so the freight cost and the shipping cost is expensive. So, you might go on to go purchase something that's, 15.99, and then you get slapped with 16.99 of shipping. So what we've been doing to offset that is giving all our consumers free shipping for their first purchase. So if you go online right now and buy it, you get some free shipping on top of that.
Heard that. I like that. That's a good, convenient way to
Yeah.
do it. But,
Yeah.
um, Jack, this has been a fantastic episode. Awesome connecting with you, chatting with you. I know this is going to be the first of a number of conversations, but I appreciate you so much. Last question, usually the heaviest one is: what is something that you've seen or something that's happened to you that shapes the way you view the world as a man?
Oof. That's tough. That's a tough question. Well, I would say, how people treat each other. I think something that I've always looked up to is my dad is definitely a big role model for me in my life. And he's always treated people how he wants to be treated. And that's really what it means to be a man, in my opinion. You always treat people with respect and how you want to be treated. And that's how I've been holding myself, this all 27 years. So I think that's something that means the most to me of how it means to be a man.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I love it, man. I appreciate you, Jack Espy, founder and CEO of Spirited Hive. Make sure to check them out, find them, get your hands on a better for you canned cocktail. I appreciate you being on the show, brother.
Thank you so much, Ted. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. And I'm going to recap really quick a couple of the gems you left along the way. Challenge accepted. When your friends tell you this is great, you should try it, Oftentimes we dismiss it. Jack, no, 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 no. He said, challenge accepted. Let's try and can these cocktails and see what happens. A better for you canned cocktail. And sometimes it's good to be naive, because if we knew the efforts that it would actually take to get something off the ground, we might choose not to do it. But once you make that decision and following through and you start figuring it out as you go, building the parachute along the way, next thing you know, you just might find that you're flying. And I'm happy to see Hive flying right now. Better option when it comes to drinking. For a lot of us, we feel stuck in the container of one or the other. Well, why not that crossroad? Why not the healthier option? And of course, Hive filling that niche. What is the niche that you are looking to fill in your life, with your business, and with your unique approach to life? Punch above your weight class. So many of us are just playing too small. The biggest risk in life isn't that you're going to aim low and hit. You should aim high and miss. That's what you want to do. So punch above your weight class. Stick to your pillars: family, friends, fitness. What is your community? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And more than a brand, a lifestyle. For anybody that takes fitness seriously, for anybody that takes their nutrition seriously, all the fads, all the workout challenges, all those diets, they're just that. It's just a quick trend and then it's gone. It's the lifestyle that gets you the results and gets you to the trajectory that you want. So, with that being said, be sure to check out Jack, Spirited Hive, and strive when that comes out. And of course, have that better for you canned cocktail as an option for you and your community at the next workout event that you guys do. Jack, thank you again to the audience making it to the end. Thank you so much for the time, the attention. Know you got a lot of value from it. So make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you can catch a new episode each and every single week. I'm going to ask that you share this with a friend, maybe a friend that you'd like to crack a cocktail with. Send them this episode. Don't say anything. Let them respond and see what they say. Maybe the drinks will be on them. Either way, give us a rating to let us know how we're doing. It's the best compliment you can give us. And always remember, everybody wants the sunshine, but they don't want the rain. But you can't get the pleasure without first the pain. Let's grow.